Welcome back to Free to Write. In Lesson 1, we focus on denial. I like to call this lesson Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire, or How to Get Across the River of Denial and Get to the Other Side. One of the greatest obstacles to creative expression is denial, or lying to myself about who I am, what I'm doing, and what I'm capable of becoming. The truly heinous thing about lying to myself is that it's an almost automatic, very human response to life. Over the years, decades actually, I've worked very hard to combat this tendency. I've watched my behavior like a hawk, swooping down on the smallest untruth, correcting it and moving on. There'll be periods when I have no problem with life as it is, but then, as recently, I have to learn the lesson all over again. For me, it came to a head when I stepped on the scale this morning. I was 2 pounds over my absolute don't go beyond this weight. For a moment, I was affronted. How dare the scale claim that I had reached this point? Hadn't I been scrupulous about my eating habits? It must have been a fluke, the result of a recent infection, the end game of having started to exercise more. Actually, it's probably because I ate a big bowl of ice cream before bed last night, and I haven't had a bowel movement today. But I started to think about my other symptoms of my not telling myself the truth. I had spent money on gifts and writing contests, despite the fact that my husband had asked me not to spend money this week. I had told myself it would be all right. He would make it work. Worse yet, in a form of unknowing self-sabotage, almost as a way to punish myself for using the funds in the first place, I sent a manuscript off with a huge flaw, one that I did not notice until I had pressed submit. What a waste of $20. This attitude about money, like my attitude about food, confuses me, and yet it's so obvious. I want what I want when I want it, and I will blot out all vestiges of reality in order to get that result. So, what does this have to do with writing? One of the earliest obstacles I encountered as a writer was my inability to see my writing for what it was. Instead, I played this push me, pull you game. I assumed that my writing was brilliant, flawless, and then judged it as mediocre, bad. I would fall in love with the words that appeared on the page as if by magic, and then rub dirt in their face and mine, cursing their banality. I was unable to look at my writing with a balanced eye. If I didn't find it to be perfect, I clawed and scratched at it like an angry cat until nothing remained but red marks and black lines. If it seemed too good to be true, I froze in the impossibility of perfection, so afraid that I wouldn't be able to continue that I stopped writing at all. Nothing got done. The truth was, I needed to stop lying to myself about what my writing was and was not. I needed to go to the experts who could take an objective look and point out both the assets and flaws of my writing. I needed to develop a willingness to stop judging my books and poems and to start looking at them as works in progress who needed a little trimming here, a little embellishment there. I needed to let go of the idea that once I had put it on paper, it was either perfect or nothing at all. I needed to lift the wool from my eyes and get to work, for without work there is no desired outcome. There is only the repetition of bad results. This is true of everything in life, not just creative work. If I don't do my lunges and squats, my knees will never get stronger, and I will have a hard time hiking down into the Grand Canyon next August. If I don't track what I eat, my weight will continue to climb, and I won't fit into my red pants at Christmas time. If I don't share my poetry with my poetry group, my poems will remain shadows of what they could become. And if I don't type my pages, the book I am working on will not be finished by its deadline. Life is about action. Sure, it's about stillness too, but that's another topic. Life is about moving in the face of laziness and wishful thinking. We have not yet developed as sentient beings to the point where we can think a thought and it appears on paper. We still have to pick up a pen or dictate into a machine or type on a keyboard. And yet we have these amazing minds that create miracles. I firmly believe in the power of the subconscious mind to manifest new realities. But those realities don't come about through wishful thinking. They come from hard work and sticking to the task at hand. If you want something, yes, visualize it, and then work for it. Don't lie to yourself about what you are doing or blame others for the fact that you're not achieving your goals. Take the stick that you've been beating yourself with and break it into 1,000 pencils and get creating. The best way to pull yourself out of denial and deceit is to speak with another person. If I'm struggling with my weight, I go to my Weight Watchers group leader. I listen to what she suggests and I try it. If I am caught in the heap of thinking my writing is either too or no good, and I convince myself there's no point in working at all, I find a mentor who can guide me. I have to get the mess out of my head and onto the table in front of me so we can sort it through. Does this mean I'm weak, ineffectual, a cop-out, a lost cause, untalented? Not at all. It means I'm humble. Humility, you'll notice, is not a four-letter word. Humility is the key to becoming an honest human being who is willing to see things as they are and go from there. That's what I think, anyway. So, to revisit the ideas that we have addressed in this session, the problem: I can't write or finish writing a body of work. Solution: 1. Accept that you need help with your writing, that you don't have the answers to your writing problems. By engaging in this course, you've already started to move in the right direction. 2. Seek out a mentor or guide to help you with this process. I offer you one complimentary consultation to augment this course. From there, we can discuss what steps you might want to take next. 3. Show up at the page. You are a writer if you write, so start writing. Begin with a journal if you like. Work your way up to multiple pages a day. The point is, do it, one day at a time. Don't worry about tomorrow or the future, your fantasy book, the Pulitzer Prize. Just write a little bit every day. Soon you will have formed a new habit. 4. Open yourself to look at your work with an unbiased eye. This is so much easier said than done. What works for me is to read a piece over so many times that I'm bored by it. Only then do I seem able to stand back and make necessary revisions. Also, I try not to treat my work as if it's some fragile flower. I take it by the stem and shake it, let the dead leaves fall off. Most art is hardier than you think. A third option is to join a writer's group, but beware, there are many well-meaning folks out there, but there are also some who enjoy taking out the hatchet just for the fun of it. Be careful. 5. Remember that when I am editing my work, I need to be as aware of what does work as what doesn't. Everything doesn't always need to be changed. This goes back to the balanced approach I seek, not only toward my writing, but toward my whole life. And to my last point under the subject of denial. 6. What makes a writer a writer? A writer is simply someone who writes, just as a cook is someone who cooks, and a runner is someone who runs. Does being a writer make me any better than anyone else? Special somehow? No, not really. It just means I write. If I am published and on television and in magazines, if I make lots of money, doesn't that make me special as a writer? No, it just means you're one of the fortunate ones who's made a financial success of it. But if you aren't writing, if you're just sitting on your ass on piles of gold coins, you aren't a writer. You're just a has-been, rich but passé. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that being a writer means something. It doesn't. All that it means is that you are writing, and that is true whether you're writing poems or children's books or novels, whether you're published or unpublished. If you're writing, you are a writer, and that means nothing. And yet, it means everything, because it is who you are, who you have chosen to be. So hold your head proud and get out your notebook or your laptop and claim that identity you have chosen. Don't deny yourself the pleasure to live the life that is right for you.